612, and we've all seen the footage of Casey Anthony, whether it's going to her attorney's office or leaving jail. But many have wondered what's going through her mind. One person who can provide us with some insight into this is body language expert Susan Constantine. She joins us live from the newsroom this morning. Susan, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start first off with Casey. As she broke down during that news conference earlier this week, I was blogging about this online and just basically said, Casey crying, to see what people had to say. There's a lot of opinions out there, but no one really knows. What do you gather from just watching that small clip of tape?
Okay, well, there's a lot that I've seen. First of all, is and it's the one that I'm referring to is where she's leaning down and she's wiping the tears away. First of all, there's some lack of contact with the media. You see her kind of looking down and separating herself, and she's using what we call a feminine wiping of her tears. So she uses kind of her fingertips to wipe away the tears, so it's not a full-fledged cry, and she's just kind of picking at, so to speak, the tears and separating them away. On the other hand, she has one hand that's usually behind her back, and that's really a sign of submission. She's looking down, which is called a kinesthetic movement, which is where she has an internal feeling. And if you look at her lips, let's dissect her lips, okay? Look at the top lip and see how it's turned down at the end, and that is a sense of sadness. Now you see the bottom lip kind of perches out, and her chin also tends to wrinkle up, which is a nonverbal cue of frustration and anger. So anyway, what she's doing is what we call concealment. And she's got some emotions that are going on there, and she's trying to withhold them, and that is what she's concealing. And you have to really dissect the regions of the face, which is dissecting from the top of the nose up to the eyes, like holding a piece of paper up and just looking at the eyes and then seeing if it's congruent with the bottom portion of the face.
Susan, very interesting to listen to. Also, when we look at this video of Casey, we rarely see her without her attorney next to him, Jose Baez. They seem oddly familiar with each other at times. What do you see when you look at him? Any body language there?
Well, there's really more of a father figure. Look at her standing behind him as a protector. And, obviously she's not standing up next to him. He's like the father standing in front. And I'm watching his eye movement cues. And, eye movement cues tell you a lot about what somebody's thinking and feeling, whether they're in the visual mode or auditory or kinesthetic. And most attorneys, just like Attorney Baez, is in the thinking mode, which is auditory. You'll notice that his eye movements tend to go to the left, to the right. And he occasionally looks back at Casey for, actually for support, to give her support. And also, he's looking at the camera people from left to right as well, trying to make sure that everybody's got a view of what he's saying.
All very interesting. Susan, thank you for joining us this morning. It kind of makes you want to think about what your face is doing the next time you're talking to somebody. Thanks
Yes,
for that insight.
You're very welcome.
Tom?
7:32. From the disappearance of her daughter to her back behind bars, accused of murder, many people have wondered what's going through Casey Anthony's mind these past few months. One person can provide us some insight using body language clues, and that's body language expert Susan Constantine. Good morning again, Susan.
Hi, Tom.
So let's take a look at our first piece of videotape and walk us through what you're seeing here.
Okay, this one is actually what we call a lip press. This is actually, she's looking down to the right-hand corner, which is a kinesthetic feeling again. What she's trying to do is withhold a thought or a feeling. So what she does is she takes her mouth and presses it inside so that she is not able to express her thought or her feeling. She's holding back a concealed message.
All right, let's go to our next one and talk to us about what you see here.
This is an interesting one. This is actually called contempt. Anytime you ever see someone's mouth angled to the side, it's called contempt. It's what we call moral superiority, which is also a narcissistic type of personality disorder. Anyone that smiles, it's what we call a little smirk that goes off to the side angle. Always be cautious.
And as you've been watching her, Susan, you've been watching this just like the rest of us for months. What have you noticed has changed in her body language?
Well, at the very beginning, when we saw her picture, she had no expression whatsoever. So she was detached or separated or distanced herself from it. Now what's happening, I think, is that really things are becoming more real to her. And she's starting to see things surface, and she's not able to conceal those emotions as well. So she's starting to show a little bit more emotion. Of course, she is trying to hold them back, and that's why you're seeing some of these micro and subtle facial expressions appearing.
Any way to tell if these are genuine emotions from that body language?
Actually, yes, because they're called leakages. So whatever you're thinking and feeling is going to be expressed through your body language. The most important thing to remember is you have to look at cluster emotions. It's not just one nonverbal cue and all of a sudden you figured them out. Let's look at the past, watch her demeanor prior to the disappearance of the child, and then now her demeanor has completely changed. That's what we call demeanor evidence.
Tell us about this photo we're seeing here that was just popped up. Let's put that back up there. And Susan, tell us what you're seeing.
That's called a lip press. See where she's taking her mouth and she's kind of folding it in? That is where she is trying to withhold a thought or feeling. She wants to verbalize something, but she's forcing herself not to. You see her chin kind of wrinkling up forward. She's also kind of frustrated and angry.
All right, Susan, you may see me looking like this because we're out of time. Thank you for the insight. It really is fascinating stuff.